Okay, well now you're being recorded, so it'll be awkward. Look at you just sitting there. You've never done anything like this?
Like a live thing
Yeah.
or
Yeah, like a podcast or like a talk or
no,
anything.
no. I mean, like obviously, I went to school.
Yeah, that's the extent of your social interactions, I guess.
Well, and I did like all my doula training and like my CPST stuff, so I have like, you
What the
know,
hell is that? I don't know what that is.
my car seat tech stuff.
Oh, okay. Also, you are a legit like I thought you were just joking when you said you're like an expert car
No,
seat.
hang on, I'll show you.
What? Don't show anything that people can steal information from.
It doesn't say anything on it. It's just like a. Hang on. I just happen to have my wallet right here. Just a
Just
moment.
happened to casually be ready. I see how you did that.
Can you see it?
Look at you. Look at that picture.
It's horrible, but thanks. Here, honey.
So how have you been? Is this
You
the
know.
new edition?
You say hi?
Hi.
Hi.
It's pronounced Tala.
Uh-huh.
You come up with the best names.
It's Tagalog for Goddess of the Stars. Kind of
Tagalog, what is that? That's the name of the language?
Filipino, yeah.
Filipino.
Yeah.
Huh. And you said the god of what? Goddess
The
of what?
Goddess of the Stars.
Okay, okay. Huh. Alright, well.
You just gonna hang out?
And she's not even a year, right?
No. She's 10 months, like just barely. Like
Dang,
10 months and 2
she's
days.
giant. She's gonna be like her dad.
Uh-huh. You gonna be a big girl? She's already in like 18-month clothing.
She's not even screaming. This is all you've been telling me lies.
Mm-mm. She was in the car.
Yeah. How's the weather over there? You guys buried in snow right now?
Not necessarily right now, but we were supposed to go to Denver tomorrow for her final like update on her hips,
Hmm.
hopefully. And
It's
the
looking good
weather's
though, right?
her hips. I don't know. We haven't been seen for 6 months.
Damn, that's a long ass time.
Uh, Thankful for ye old plague,
What is that?
COVID, the
Oh.
plague.
I was like, what? I thought you were talking about
Uh,
something else. Um. All right, all right, all right. So, you still nervous?
a little bit.
Oh, well, I wish I could have prepared more questions for you, but I mean, honestly, I don't even feel like. I kept thinking about this subject, and I'm like, man, I'm a dude. Like, am I even supposed to be talking about this? Like, I don't feel like I have like a voice to be heard here. You know, like this. I know this is this was your idea talking about abortion and stuff, but I don't know.
I
It
mean,
feels weird for me because I feel like I shouldn't have any say. And
you shouldn't, but at the same time, like I obviously consulted my partner.
yeah,
It was a mutual decision, and I'm grateful that we came to it very quickly, and there wasn't any sort of argument or anything like that.
okay.
So,
So you want to talk about your experience with it first?
um, not necessarily like the experience of the abortion, but just my experience of like finding resources
Okay.
and ultimately becoming a resource for other women because they just don't exist.
Now, when you say finding resources, is it going to be pretty similar across the board, like as far as states? I mean,
It depends on where you're located, because somewhere like Texas, like you're not gonna have shit.
yeah, they're
Um,
pretty hard on it, huh?
yeah, unfortunately. So even though like we live in a rural community and it was difficult for me to find resources, I imagine it's more difficult in other places.
Hmm.
Shush. Yes, ma'am. Um, like Texas. Um, I know California has pretty good abortion laws. Colorado has like incredible laws where you can go to just Planned Parenthood and abort up to like 20 weeks.
That's how I thought it
Um,
was everywhere until like I kind of started looking into it.
um, if I recall, with Arizona, it's like 16 weeks or something like that.
Yeah, they have some dumb shit. There, did you see the new law they're trying to pass here?
Mm-mm.
They're trying to make it to where it's a I don't know what how to label the law, but it's basically you're considered like a murderer. The doctor and the mom get charged with murder. That's
Right.
nuts.
And
That's
the
fucking
biggest
crazy.
problem with that, obviously, is that if you have like an incomplete miscarriage, which in the medical world, it's not called a miscarriage, it's called a spontaneous abortion.
Whoa.
If you have a miscarriage that's incomplete, say like you don't pass the placenta or the yolk sac or
Mm-hmm.
whatever, or there's still some tissue, a DNC is required to like complete that and make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you're healthy. Otherwise, the potential of serious complications, whether losing your reproduction as a whole or losing your life, is really high.
Yeah, I don't want to say any names, but I know somebody who they had to have one because the way I guess the fetus was growing, it was gonna kill her, basically.
Right, and that's kind of what we thought was happening with us,
Mm-hmm.
um, because like the way that it works is obviously you have to like get that positive test or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll use your resources such as like a Planned Parenthood or whatever you have available to you, midwives, OBGYNs, and they'll perform like an ultrasound,
Mm-hmm.
because if you do um, like it's called a medical abortion, which is the pills that you take compared
Yeah.
to like a surgical abortion. If you do a medical abortion, you have to be at a certain level within your like HCG hormones,
Mm-hmm.
which are like the ones that make you have a positive test, if that makes sense. It's the hormone that
Yeah.
you have before the placenta like exists,
Yeah.
and it's what helps like the cells divide and everything like that. Stop it. um what is it? um so you'll go in and they test like your urine to confirm that you have a positive, and then they'll move on through other resources just to kind of figure out where you are within the pregnancy. So whether that's like a blood draw to test your HCG, which should be doubling every like 48 to 72 hours. Um, and then they do an ultrasound, because different insurances cover different things. Prior to the Trump administration, Medicaid, Medicare, like all of that covered abortions through Planned Parenthood. Because in general, even just like a medical abortion is like $700, even in
Damn.
a place like Colorado. It's not cheap. So although people think that it's like this
I always
birth
saw
control,
memes that were like $300 or something like that.
no. Um, and I mean, if you're further along, like your options are, a DNC, and that's a whole surgical procedure that takes like 3 to 4 hours, and it's super painful, and
And
you're
you're
all
like
drugged up,
bedridden with stuff like that.
and that's like a like $2,000 to $3,000 thing.
Sheesh. Yeah.
So, and then if you go further and say like you have like a fetus that isn't compatible with life or is affecting like you, say it's like a trisomy 21, or not trisomy 21, trisomy 18, which is not compatible with life. Or I've seen instances where the fetus has a tumor that is affecting like the mother's health, um, and could ultimately kill the mother. You're getting like a late term abortion, and those are insanely expensive, like
Yeah.
tens of thousands of dollars. So, like I said before, the Trump administration, um, Medicare covered that, or Medicaid covered that in most states, because it's health.
Yeah.
It's your reproductive health care, and it's definitely cheaper to fund a $500 to $1,500 abortion than it is to fund an entire pregnancy, and even like a delivery,
Mm-hmm.
because that's like another like $7,000 to $13,000, just to
Sheesh.
have a baby as is. And then of course once like the baby is born, whatever, whether it goes into like foster care or
Mm-hmm.
adoption, or say that the parent does choose to keep the child, like they'll still be under Medicaid and stuff like that. So ultimately, it's cheaper for the state to fund abortions than it is for the state to fund like full pregnancy, delivery, and
Yeah.
infancy, etc.
Is that the stuff that Biden that I sent you that article where he was? Is that part of the stuff he was trying to make it easier?
Yes. So he made it where, goodness.
This is
uh,
momming. This is real momming right here.
right. He made it where Medicaid would cover that again.
Yeah.
So in low income housing and stuff like that, and low income families, especially during the pandemic, which I think had a huge rise in abortion rates, just because of the state of the economy. Um, um, it's now possible for those low income families to have access to their reproductive health through
Yeah.
abortions.
Yeah.
Can you say hi?
Hi. She's like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. What?
So as it is right now, is there how would I say this? So you can have there. It's possible to have an abortion at any stage. There's no like. Is there anywhere where it's a law where it's like, oh, it's past a certain point where you can't?
As far as I understand,
It's
and
just really
granted,
hard.
all of my birth work that I've done is just within the state of Colorado,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't know how
You don't
other
know.
states are per se. I know that like in Texas, you can't after like 12 weeks
Okay, so
at
Texas
all.
one.
Whereas in other states like Colorado, you can, as late as necessary. But what people don't understand about late term abortions is that those are wanted pregnancies. These are, mothers who have put their all into this pregnancy, tried
Yeah,
everything they possibly can, but either they're going to die or the
something
baby's
went
going to die
wrong. Yeah.
or both is going to. And it's kind of like, that, um, what do they call it? Doctor assisted suicide or
Yeah.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For terminally ill people, it's kind of like that type of mercy that is coming in to terms with the late term abortions.
I
And it's
wonder if
not just
Hawaii
walking.
does that because aren't they one of the first ones that did the whole doctor assisted? Pretty sure they are.
I know California does, and I know
They
that
are too.
Oregon does, and I think maybe Washington, but I
There's a
don't
couple
know.
now. Okay.
Hmm.
Damn.
But with that being said, like it's not you walk into Planned Parenthood and say, "Hey, like I am hugely pregnant, on the brink of having a baby, and I want an abortion." Like that's not how it works. You would have to have a referral from your provider, whether that be a midwife or a OBGYN or some high risk doctor. And once they refer you, you still have to go through therapy. Um, you have to like write a letter to the judge,
Yeah.
like to the Supreme Court or whatever it is for the states. I am not that informed.
Yeah.
Um, and you have to ask them, basically, this is my circumstances. Can you approve this? And it has to be within like 24 hours of the supposed procedure. Um, and a lot of it, what people think that a late term abortion looks like is, they're doing like a DNC like they would in early pregnancy, where they're just giving you some medicine that like stops the heart rate, and then it
Yeah.
causes you to like dilate, and then they like vacuum it out and like chop it up in tiny little pieces and stuff
Yeah.
like that, which is not the case.
Right.
These late term abortions are stillbirths. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're either via cesarean or they will use something like pitocin to cause you to go into labor. Like you're
Yeah.
going to see the fetus, like you're
That's
going to.
rough.
So it's a lot, and it's not what people think it is. It's not you're just going to walk into this sterile room, you're going to go to sleep, and you're going to wake up and you're not going to be pregnant anymore or anything like that. Because even if you get like an early abortion, you're still going to have issues with like postpartum bleeding, postpartum hair loss, what as well as like producing breast milk, like lactating and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is it? What is it? So it's not like this blanket and everything goes away. And nobody goes into that situation lightly. Even myself being like pro-abortion, like I never thought that I would need one. I always thought that I was, safe and conscious
Yeah.
and everything like that. But birth controls fail all the time. People get pregnant on IUDs, people get pregnant from condoms, not everything is effective. And breastfeeding makes things less effective sometimes, more effective other times. And ultimately, that's how I knew that we were pregnant, is because I had like a dip in my breast milk supply.
Mm-hmm.
So we found out super, super early. Like I was like maybe like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And then, finding resources, especially during a pandemic, was not easy. I spent hours on the internet looking for somewhere where I could get like confirmation of pregnancy and ultimately termination. And goodness, a lot of the resources I found local to me were pro-life resources disguised as abortion resources.
I heard about that. I think that girl on that TED Talk that you sent me, was it her? Somewhere I saw where like they'll set up shop like next to an actual clinic and disguise themselves as the clinic, basically, to try to trick you and make you listen to.
Two of the ones I found here within like a 3-hour radius of us, because again we're really rural, were like this is an abortion resource. We'll do ultrasounds and everything's free and da 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 da. And then the further I looked into it and like read reviews on it, it was like, absolutely do not go here if you have any intent to terminate, because it's just a bunch of religious zealots. Just a moment.
Yeah.
Here.
Whitney, we didn't even introduce you. We like got right into this.
My bad.
It's okay. It's because I'm normally just like used to it being live and seeing people on here and stuff. And everyone, this is my friend Whitney.
Hi.
I always get down because I have like certain friends like you. I've had certain friends throughout that like they don't have like a social media footprint really, and like they don't know like these people that I've been close with over the years. I don't know. It always upsets me at times because I'm just like, I
have a social media for my doula stuff, but that's it. I just have an Instagram.
What the hell is that?
I'm a birth doula.
A what?
I feel like you knew this.
I know you were like a midwife type of thing, but I'm a dummy. I don't know this stuff.
Okay, so the difference between a doula and a midwife is a doula is like labor support, and I like to say that a doula supports you from the waist up, and a midwife supports you from the waist down.
So you're both of those then, right?
So not yet. I have an apprenticeship for my midwifery, but it's on hold right now due to COVID. But I am a doula, and as a doula I specifically work with like single mothers, because that's how it was when I had Luca. I was a single mother, I did that shit by myself, which was very empowering, and it brought me to my passion. So
yeah,
it's funny because I love pregnancy, I love birth, it's my passion,
I thought you were about Trump rallies. That's what I thought.
Through that, my goal is to empower women in their reproductive health, which also includes abortion.
Yeah, you ooze women power and all of that goodness. So you're doing a good job.
We're trying, huh?
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, people I don't know. Yeah, doula doesn't count because people don't know that you're my friend that way.
Well, I am a person.
I know, but that was my whole point. Is like I have these friends that don't have like that I talk to all the time, and like nobody knows who they are. Kind of upsets me because you don't get your like recognition. I guess not that you need it or anything, but you know what I mean.
Although I feel like you have enough friends on Facebook who should be relatively familiar with who I was at one point in time, like
Ronnie. That's about it. Like he'll probably see this and be like, what? And yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I'm a big fan of my friendships, and I don't know. I just always want people to be aware of like the important.
This is my friend.
Yeah, because I mean, I think you've played a big role in my life. You've helped me realize some things and helped me become a better person. So I just always wanted people to know who you were and stuff like that. And not just you. Like I said, I have a couple other friends, and it's just like
the abortion lady.
You're like these secret people in the background who are like a big deal, but nobody, like literally nobody knows who you guys are. So I don't know.
You guys?
I mean, like all my other friends. People who are on social media and follow me and joke around with me and stuff, they see me interacting with anybody else. But who the hell is Whitney? Right now they're watching this and they're like, who is this girl? Just some random girl? No. That's my point. It's a little sad sometimes because, you know, just want
Yeah.
people to know how important some people are. So that's my little spiel for who you are.
Well, and that was my whole point for not having social media, is having more, what's the word I'm looking for? Goodness. Um, what's the word? Why don't I have social media?
Because you hate people.
I mean, that's part of it for sure. Uh, but having more like real connections with people,
Okay, yeah, there's a deeper value, deeper connection.
Yeah.
With
I
friends.
mean, I deleted all my social media when my little brother died 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like as a point or anything like that, but I could tell you after that, I've maybe heard from like 5 people when I had hundreds of people on my social media. A lot
Back
of
when
people
you were known as Whitnie.
Shut up. All these people are like, well, you're not on social media, so we're not friends, and I don't understand how that works.
Well, I do enjoy my breaks as well. I mean, you remember I used to take them all the time. But that was more like depression stuff. But I don't know. It gets really addicting, like you're saying, where there's just a lot of less bullshit, and you do see who's there and who really cares. I don't know.
Right.
It's healthier. If I could go 100% without social media, I would. But as you can see, I'm a big time podcast superstar now, so I don't know if that's even possible. But
Well, and like I said, I do have my like doula Instagram account, and I can't lie and say that I don't from time to time stalk the people that I know.
but still, can't me because I'm fucking private. I keep that shit locked down. But I mean, I don't know. That's still different. That's like work related. I mean, it's okay to browse. I mean, like me, who has like every account and is on that shit all the time, posting memes and.
Well, and I feel like, as somebody who I was like addicted to social media.
You were? No way. I don't believe
I'm
that.
totally getting off track, but I did spend a lot of time, sharing pictures of my kids more often than I did spend time with my children.
You were never addicted to social media. Not when I knew you. Unless you just hit it really good.
I was always on Facebook and Instagram.
You never posted anything.
That is not true.
Well,
you just ignored my political nonsense.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, I post like 20, 30 times a day.
I was totally telling Toad about that today.
Yeah. I got to keep my people entertained. Okay, yeah, well, I didn't mean to get sidetracked.
We're not doing right now.
What?
I said, which we're not doing right now.
Not doing what?
Entertaining your people.
Oh, they don't care. This is like a free form conversation. This is how they all go. I have topics typically for each one, but we go off on so many tangents and talk about whatever. I mean, we can always come back to the topic. I mean, we will here shortly. Just I'm a fan with this thing. I'm a fan of like organic conversation. That's why I tried not to do questions.
Because you just want everybody's anxiety to be real high.
No, I mean, like here's usually what I tell people to do. Usually I have to be like, okay, what's your topic? What do you want to talk about? And then I get a sense of direction, like where they want to go. I mean, yours is clearly abortion, and I thought you were pro-choice, but I come to find out you're pro-abortion, which I guess that's a good segue back into our conversation.
Right.
I didn't even know that was a term, pro-abortion and pro-choice.
So I feel like it's used a lot among like the feminist community, which I guess pro-choice is supposed to be feminist too. But I feel like it goes a step further. Like, of course, like pro-choice is like, well, whatever you want to do, like I support you in that decision. Mm-hmm. Whereas pro-abortion goes just a little bit further in the point where I absolutely support abortion. It's an integral part of, our reproductive health, and it should be available and, used as much as needed. Of course,
then maybe most people
are birth control.
Maybe most people, because now I'm going to say that I'm pro-abortion because, yeah, I 100% support you having, being able to do it. But I also support the choice. Like, if somebody don't want to do it, then cool. Just,
well,
I mean? So that's where I kind of get like confused on it. I'm like,
so for me, I guess pro-abortion means that I guess make it more accessible. If somebody I know has told me that they're pregnant and they're in an abusive relationship, or they're struggling financially, or they already have children or what have you, I give them that option probably sooner than most people would. I say, like you could absolutely have a medically induced abortion. Like,
Right.
and I support this. This is what I'm not necessarily suggesting, but I feel like giving women that option up front
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes them, think about it a little bit more, or be like, okay, like somebody's brought it up and I don't have to, I know
Yeah.
that this is a choice for me compared to like a last resort or whatever. It's not.
Would you say girls are scared to ask information about this stuff?
Oh, absolutely. Give me just a
Oh,
second.
you're fine. This is momming, ladies and gentlemen. How do I look today? Okay.
You say you look good.
I had therapy today. I was asking people how I looked today. I'm feeling tired. And,
You're like, dang, I look good.
no, I'm feeling fat these days. I hate my fat cheeks. Ugh, disgusting. I'm gonna go get liposuction and maybe some cheek work done. I don't know.
They do that on your face.
I don't know.
I know
But
that
I'm gonna make it a thing.
I know that they do this thing called buccal fat removal, and buccal is the medical term for your cheeks. And a lot of celebrities have this. They just go through an incision on the inside of your mouth and they remove all the fat out of your cheeks, and that's why celebrities have that like sunken in, like.
That's what I want. I want to look that in. Once I make all this stock money, that's what I'm gonna spend it on. I know you got a bunch of stock money. Don't lie.
In abortion, maybe.
You got some Planned Parenthood stock or what?
Like, let's just acknowledge on top of this though that like if it weren't for like abortion, so much of the COVID-19 treatments wouldn't even exist. Like Trump received his treatment from aborted fetal cells.
Oh.
Just but a lot of abortions, segueing back into this, happen in the first like 12 weeks. As long as they happen within the first 10 weeks, you don't even have to get it done in like a clinic. It's just you are given 2 separate medications. One is a hormone that stops your body from producing HCG, which means that it would stop any increase of cell division. And the second just causes you to like expel the pregnancy.
I got the
and
CDC
you do that at home.
stuff up.
And that's what the majority of them are. You do it in the safety of your own home. There's no harvesting your aborted cells or whatever that people think it is. And it's not invasive. It would be very similar to having like a spontaneous miscarriage or a spontaneous abortion, whatever you want to call it. Where you just.
It says here in 2016, 2/3 of abortions occurred at 8 weeks of pregnancy or earlier. 88% occurred in the first 12 weeks.
Yeah. So again, like this ridiculousness that, somehow Biden is supporting the slaughter of millions of innocent dead babies and stuff like that. It's just ridiculous. And it's propaganda as it sits.
Why is it? Hold on. I'm trying to move my shit around. Okay, this is going to have to work. Wait, what were you saying again about Biden?
Oh, I've just seen a lot of stuff where people are like, oh, Biden is supporting the slaughter of innocent babies. Third
trimester. Just simply for promoting abortions rights, or what I guess is what you call it.
And just taking them back to where they were before, defunding Planned Parenthood. I know people are like, oh, well, Planned Parenthood doesn't just do abortions. They also do STI screenings and birth control and da-da-da-da. Even if all they did was abortions, they should still be funded. It should still be a resource available to all women.
Yeah, I hear they really knock it out the park, besides abortions.
Well, if it wasn't for Planned Parenthood, I don't even know what I would have done, because our hospital here, again, like I said, we're really rural, so the only hospital here is a Catholic hospital, like a St. Mary's or.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Because you're so rural and in a small town, do you think maybe that's why it was harder for you to find resources?
I mean, maybe to a degree, but like I live in a very like liberal and relatively wealthy area that resources should be available. But with the limitations of the hospital, that means none of the local OBGYNs or midwives can perform any type of abortion, because the Catholic hospital has strict rules against that. They don't perform hysterectomies, they don't do vasectomies, they don't do any sort of stuff like that. So, Planned Parenthood was the only option. But living in the area that I live, just south in like New Mexico, the Planned Parenthoods here, because the area is conservative, don't even perform abortions. They only do like secondary care, such as STI screenings and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So you want to walk me through exactly like your whole, like the moment you found out you guys were having a baby and how you went down to the clinic and how all that worked out?
I guess.
So you guys get your tests, positive tests. You're
Well, like I said,
twins.
like
I'm
I
kidding.
I pretty well knew because I had a change in my breast milk supply. At the time, Tala was only 9 months old and is already like a relatively difficult baby. So not having like breast milk available for her became a far more difficult baby. So just to err on the side of caution, I was like, okay, like I'll test, and it came back positive like that, and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Usually within the first year of being postpartum, if you breastfeed on demand, you bed share, and like baby wear, and you don't work outside the home, a lot of times, and don't quote me on this, but a lot of like midwives and OBGYNs will say that that's relatively safe birth control. Now, that is not the only birth control we were using, but because of that,
Vasectomy, bro.
a lot of people assume that, you know, breastfeeding is enough, but it's not. Let me just be, condoms fail, IUDs fail, everything has a potential to fail.
Yeah.
But breastfeeding, I've seen more like positive cases through that than otherwise. So it is not, it is not foolproof.
That's crazy that would affect it. I would, again, I'm a dummy and I would never, ever.
Yeah, it's just the different hormones, like breastfeeding prevents you from ovulating, or it's supposed to, whereas ovulation prevents you from breastfeeding. You can't
Even the IUD thing, I always hear that thing's like bulletproof.
It's not. Obviously, it's not.
Crazy. Wow.
But so I had an effect, my milk supply was dropping, my daughter was cranky, and I was like, we'll test. So I tested, and it was positive, and I was like, shit. And, this is back in December, which all of my family and all of my partner's family had COVID. This was like 2 weeks before Christmas.
Yeah.
And it was just a lot. And in the state that we live in, like, we were all locked down completely at the time too, until after Christmas. Unlike you in Arizona, where everybody just passes COVID around like it's chlamydia.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not associated maybe with these clowns.
But so I immediately started looking up resources. A large majority of the ones that I found were ultimately dead ends. Like I said, very pro-life, masked behind this "we give you options" kind of thing.
That's so fucking shady. Fuck.
Dude. I can't believe that they're able to continue that way, and I was surprised to find them even in Colorado, just because they are so like progressive in their abortion laws. Yeah. It was on the ballot in 2020, like the abortion laws, and it was put off to 22 weeks for just like in clinic whatever, instead of needing like any sort of special referral. Yeah. Which is helpful, for people that are getting diagnoses like trisomy 18, like I said, things that aren't compatible with life. They can not be diagnosed until after that 20-week anatomy scan. So knowing that you have choices after that in the event that it doesn't work out. But anyway, I looked up a bunch of resources, and all of them were dead ends. And due to like the lockdowns and stuff, even Planned Parenthood was like not really performing anything or anything like that. I did call my provider, which is a midwife who delivers out of the hospital here, and they said that they didn't have any resources outside of Planned Parenthood. So I actually called one of the Planned Parenthoods in New Mexico that doesn't perform abortions, and they referred me back and kind of squeezed me in, which was nice. Obviously, things were a little bit different due to like COVID.
Yeah, that really fucked things up. Mm-hmm.
So I went into my appointment. and was going to get it done then and there. But they actually were like, well, we don't see any like signs of a pregnancy or anything via the ultrasound, and we're pretty sure it's an ectopic pregnancy. So we're going to do some blood draws, and we're going to do also some
What's
stuff like that.
ectopic or whatever that is?
An ectopic pregnancy would be a pregnancy that's located outside of the uterus,
Oh,
so whether in the fallopian tubes or somewhere else in the
that's one of the dangerous ones,
vaginal.
right?
Yeah, yes, the dangerous zones.
Okay.
Because people always think that your ovaries via your fallopian tubes are
Mm-hmm.
connected directly to your uterus, but they're not. They're like there's like a gap in them,
Uh-huh.
and usually how like pregnancy starts is the sperm connects with the egg in one of the fallopian tubes,
Yeah.
and then the egg migrates down into the uterus. So they're technically fertilized in the fallopian tubes, and sometimes they don't migrate down properly. They can just get stuck in the fallopian tube, or they can find themselves inside the abdominal cavity.
Now, is it
And
always dangerous, or is there any like small chance that that can work out?
no, it's always dangerous.
Always dangerous.
Obviously, like your fallopian tube is very small and
Right.
wouldn't be
Can't
able
stretch
to,
or some shit.
yeah, wouldn't be able to stretch like the uterus
Like I
can.
said, I don't know shit.
I mean, you answered it, so you're right.
Okay.
But no, there's no way that an ectopic pregnancy can lead to like successful live birth. It just does not
Right.
exist,
Okay.
and it's incredibly dangerous for like the pregnant person if we're being PC. I do know in states like Texas and a lot of the stuff that Amy Coney Barrett, that Supreme Court justice that replaced RGB,
Right.
she wants to prosecute like OBGYNs for
Crazy.
terminating ectopic pregnancies. Like she would like those to be prosecuted.
Well, I
Just
hope
like
she gets one of these pregnancies so she can see. She's probably too old, but
one of the things that I did find in the process of looking up resources and kind of like stories, and I guess one of the reasons why I want to tell my story here is because any of the resources available on YouTube, even like Instagram or anything like that, just the World Wide Web, is that they're pro-life resources saying that they regret their choice, that they had complications following it, and things like that. And
yeah.
through that, I also found like this subreddit of people discussing.
Wait, you're on Reddit?
I'm not.
Don't lie to me.
I'm
huge on Reddit.
basically discussing like people who perform abortions,
Mm-hmm.
like how often do you get conservatives in there and how do they behave?
Yeah.
And it was insane, the like experiences that these people have. I mean, because 1 in every 4 women in the United States will have or have had an abortion. That's 25% of the female population in the United States. That's high. That's really
that's
high.
crazy.
And, I mean, good for them. But that definitely includes more than just the liberals or the sex workers or anything like that. It also includes conservatives, and the list went on to like express how hateful and how awful these like conservative Baptist women and stuff like that, while getting the surgery performed or whatever, are literally telling the doctors that they're going to go to hell and that they're going to they deserve to die for this while they're getting the procedure done.
That's crazy. I'd be like, all right, later then go do this shit yourself.
And I think that's just some sort of like cognitive dissonance that people have when it comes to separating like their beliefs that are so indoctrinated in them, like abortion is bad or abortion is murder or what have you. Because it's a very good resource for a lot of women out there.
Yeah.
And if we can end the stigma around it, imagine how many more women would have access to birth control, because that's a big thing. When you go into Planned Parenthood, they don't want you to just repeatedly get abortions.
Right.
So they immediately give you alternative options for birth control upon the completion of your termination. So, they consult with you over your birth control options before even beginning the procedure or anything like that. And some of them, it goes straight from procedure to inputting an IUD. Like we got resources from our local Planned Parenthood for vasectomies. Because
do it. Shit's
choice.
lit.
So again, having access to abortions doesn't increase abortions. It
Right.
increases reproductive health and use of birth control and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Say hi.
Hi. Yeah, I think too many people associate it with just killing babies or something.
Right,
That's
which
not
isn't
what it
even.
is.
And I feel like if we continue to label it that way, like all these people who are trying to conceive, who are performing IVF, here, you can have this without that, okay? You can't eat that piece of paper. Here you go. Yeah. Um, you know, women who are having miscarriages
Mm-hmm.
or have to go through DNCs or anything like that. Hang on. Here, do you want my wallet? I know, honey.
Where do you think most of the stigma comes from, though? Do you think it's one-sided, like with guys, with other women, just religious folk?
I think it really goes alongside religion,
Yeah.
which unfortunately is what a lot of I feel like religion and shame are one and the same. That's kind of how religion works. They shame you for your choices. They shame you for your sexuality in general.
Okay.
Um, so I think religion plays a big role in that, which is why like the states along the Bible Belt
Mm-hmm.
have your um, you know, more restrictive abortion laws like Georgia, Alabama, Texas. Um,
Are you
you
religious at all? No, huh?
Me?
Yeah.
No.
The way you laugh.
Um, no, I'm not. Um,
My
but
background photo has a church, just so you know. I found
your
God. I found God in the last year.
oh, I'm sorry.
I can't even say it with a straight face. But
Not to put religion down. I was just kidding, but
Um, but if 1 in 4 women are getting abortions, um, how is there still such a stigma around it? I don't understand.
I don't either.
Uh,
That's like you were talking about. What's her name? Amy, whatever.
mhm.
the new Supreme Justice. I don't understand how another woman could just not put herself in somebody's shoes who's gone through this, and
I don't
I
know.
don't, it
It's like
just don't make
how
no sense to me at all.
people
Like,
of color support Trump,
and then
or
yeah, okay, that's and then damn, what was I gonna say? I fucking lost my train of thought there, but yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me that a woman of all people cannot be fully behind this. I would think it would be dudes or stupid
I
people.
don't know. I feel like obviously men are going to benefit the most for it, but a big part of it, even when we come down to like my first pregnancy and my first child, is
Mhm.
I support abortion so strongly that I also support like men's choices or whatever's to walk away from children.
what?
Nobody should be
Really?
forced. Nobody should be forced to love a child or care for a child.
I mean, you gotta take care of somebody you brought into this world, don't you? I mean, so you don't care about like people getting child support and stuff like that, and
I mean, have we not had this conversation
not
before?
really. Not,
I think
I mean,
child support
loosely.
is the word. Children are not paychecks, and that's a big thing that it comes down to. They're also not
But what about
pawns.
like struggling moms that like need help? And
Well, that's when there should be more resources.
do you think they're
Bring
like
it
the government or something?
socialism. Um,
Oh God, you're gonna set off the Trump supporters on this one.
um,
I get
but
what you're
no,
saying.
like there should be resources available. And I mean, I
Yeah.
was that single parent,
Yeah.
and I went to school and I took care of my shit, and I took care of my kid, and
By the way, that's how me and Whitney met. I gave her a bunch of Love's stuff.
a bunch of baby stuff.
Yeah.
I remember the first time. Well, it's because we were in that AZ rave.
Yeah, that was back when you couldn't stop raving. Like every other day you were at a rave, and I was like,
Well,
girl, relax.
Well, it was the AZ Rave fam, and I like hid my pregnancy from like the world.
Yeah.
Like nobody knew I was pregnant except for like the Rave fam.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like asking on like a random day for like suggestions on like custody stuff and things like that. And you had responded to it, and then you had sent me like a message like randomly, where you're like, I have all this baby stuff. And I remember reaching out to Ronnie and I'm like, yo, Ronnie, can
Oh,
you
really?
help? Dude, because I don't know him and he's trying to come to my house. Like,
Wow, don't make it seem like that. I just offered you some stuff.
For what it's worth, Ronnie totally vouched for you. And he was like, nah, David's not a creep. You're not some. Do you still, is Aaron still in existence? I think
don't.
he specifically said you weren't creepy like Aaron.
Uh, well, there's two different groups now. There was the EDC family, whatever the hell it was called. That was the one that Aaron had, and then there was a second one. That was the one that like Janelle and them were all admins of. That's still like the popular.
That
one
one was the spin-off one because
Right.
there was so many issues with.
Exactly. That's still the new one. But yeah, don't make it seem like I was trying to come to your house. I simply offered you some stuff and you were like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. And then we figured out a day to meet up.
Well, first, I definitely reached out to Ronnie.
Okay, well, good looking out, Ronster.
Oh, honey. Are you just over it?
She's done. She needs your attention. Oh.
Oh, goodness.
But I mean, it worked out. Look at us now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you still have any of that stuff, or is it all long gone by now?
Oh, I'm assuming that it's all long gone.
Yeah. It literally was just sitting in my garage. It's like I was gonna throw it away. Yeah. He's a young man, ready for kindergarten.
Oh,
That's gonna be an adventure for you.
well, you know, luckily pre-pandemic, my plans were to homeschool.
Oh, really?
And, yeah, so it doesn't change anything.
How does that work? You have to like find a teacher, or you do it, or?
So, again, different states have different laws.
Oh.
Like some states, if a parent's going to homeschool, they have to have like a degree of some sort, which I mean I have, so it doesn't matter what state I live in for that. In some states, you have to be registered with like your local school district.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Back to me. You see, guys? See how fat these cheeks are? Just a little nip and a tuck right there.
But yeah, in some states, you have to have like registration with your local school districts, and you have to also like have curriculums, which you can find a lot of curriculums online. Weirdly, most of the homeschool curriculums are religious, because a lot of people choose to homeschool because of the stupid separation of church and state. And if they're not going to teach religion in school and they're going to teach religion, then I'm going to teach my kids myself, which is ridiculous. So finding like secular or non-religious homeschool curriculum is pretty difficult. You can come over here. Can I say hi? Where? Hi.
What's up, Luca? You don't remember me. Not one bit.
You know who that is? It's David Avocado.
What? You call me avocado too? What's up, Luca? How you doing?
I'm shy.
Me too. I'm really shy too. Your mom had to make me do this. I didn't want to. It's like I don't like talking on the phone like this.
Why are you being animal-y? What'd you break? What'd you break? Oh, close by, no big deal. You smell like garlic. Is it because you had spaghetti for lunch? Yes.
Remember that picture? You have an old picture. I think it was when you first moved to, where was it? Where were you at? Wyoming?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like screaming, and I think you're making like spaghetti or something.
Yeah, he's like covered.
He's like crying. Yep. Wish I could post that up on here, but whatever. Are you familiar with the National Abortion Federation?
I think so. I think what it is that they help fund abortions for women, and help you find resources.
Yeah, that's what I typed in Google to try to see if there was anything here. There's a phone
do
number.
scholarships and stuff for women. a friend of mine has had 2 abortions while she was in the throes of addiction, and she actually had one of her abortions paid for by a church, which is weird, but that's kind of cool. There are a lot of resources out there, but finding legitimate resources and ones that are actually going to help you in comparison to ones that are going to, guilt you into, keeping a pregnancy and proceeding with that is a lot more likely. But if you know how to look for it,
Well, they have this phone number. It's the NAF hotline referral line.
mhm.
1-877-257-0012. I was trying to find like some resources here to help whoever is listening, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's any
I
good.
know that that specific one has like you can call once you have your abortion scheduled, and they will actually like fund it. Ultimately, like I did get a scholarship to fund my abortion in December.
Was that difficult?
No, it was a lot easier than I thought. They don't just go off income, but they also like go off like your, what's the word I'm looking for? Um,
Oh, it even has it broken down by state. This is pretty cool.
and it'll show you like clinics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm at a loss for words here, but basically what it is they have like a questionnaire that you fill out, and you can it takes like 5 minutes, and based on this questionnaire, at least through Planned Parenthood, they'll tell you like whether or not you're eligible. They specifically said I was eligible because like this was my first time, in addition to the fact that I had living children. It shows that I, am a responsible person, I guess, to some degree. The fact that I have living children and that I have made like this conscious decision. I know that whether or not you have like a degree plays into it too. Like they're looking for specific demographics to help. Because I know when people think of abortion, they're thinking of, sex workers or low income people or,
Right.
People who have experienced rape or incest, whereas I feel like it happens more often with people in my scenario. You either already have children, you're definitely in a monogamous relationship, and it's just an accident. You were being safe and you did
Right.
everything you could, and it happened. And so of course I think it should be available to everyone, whether they be sex workers, low income, rape or incest victims.
That's another one that gets me too. Is like, how could you not support somebody aborting like when they've been raped? Like, say, like there's been little kids who, have become impregnated and whatnot through rape. But like, how could you not let them go through with that?
I don't get it. I mean,
don't understand.
because like pregnancy is hard, Again, I'm a birth worker, and my passion is in pregnancy and childbirth and everything like that. But pregnancy is hard. Both of my full-term pregnancies, I struggled with depression on top of my regular anxiety, and it's, I probably cried every single day, and not just because of hormones, but because it's a lot. It's a big change. It's a big commitment, and it does a lot. It's a big strain on your body, your emotions, and that's one of the reasons why we chose not to proceed with the third.
Didn't I tell you were going to have 3 kids, though? I'm pretty sure I called it a long time ago.
Well, it's not going to happen, so.
Well, it kind of did, technically.
No.
I didn't say you were going to have 3. I just said there was going to be 3 pregnancies.
Well, it wouldn't be a kid. It wouldn't even be a baby. At the point that we chose to terminate and that we went through with that, I was like maybe 5 weeks,
Right.
which, I mean, 25% of pregnancies end in miscarriage as is. So it probably, within the first trimester, within the first 12 weeks. So one of the good things about finding out early and the resources that are available through Planned Parenthood, and I'm assuming other resources, but I can't speak from experience, is that, once they find the yolk sac or whatever, there isn't even necessarily like a heartbeat or anything like that. So viability isn't even in question. I couldn't tell you whether or not that was going to be a viable fetus, whether or not
How far did you say you were?
make it to that 12-week mark or what have you. But I had the choice to not find out.
But where were you again? How many? You said you were 3 weeks or how?
5.
5 weeks. Okay, I have a little thing.
By the time we finally, got through with it, because I was originally supposed to have it done on like Christmas Eve. Um, and the actual process of undergoing like the termination with the 2 pills
Mm-hmm.
is supposed to be really bloody and painful, from my understanding, much like people would consider like a miscarriage, how you see it in movies.
Right.
Luckily for me, that was not the case, but I did postpone it an additional week so that I could enjoy, Christmas with my children, my
I
partner.
see. Um, when does the heartbeat and all that start?
A heartbeat can show up anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks.
I'll see you right there before. I know that's like a big deal to people or the
Mm-hmm.
pro lifers.
But I do know that a lot of Planned Parenthood, specifically in Colorado, don't even check for heartbeats.
Yeah, and there's currently some places where they make you get the ultrasound, they make you hear the heartbeat or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Terrible.
Yeah, and with
That's like
mine,
guilting you into shit.
it's horrible. With mine, they asked me a bunch of questions prior to. They said, like, do you want to be able to see the screen? Do you want us to show you what's in there? Do you want us to tell you how many, whether it's a singleton or a multiple, such as twins or triplets or what have you? Do you want pictures to take home with you? I took an ultrasound home with me, a picture of it. Again, it wasn't anything because we were so early. It was just this black circle in my uterus.
Right.
But they give you those options, but they don't give you the option for like a heartbeat. They don't do that at all. When I was pregnant with Tala, which was a planned pregnancy, my OBs were like super booked, and I had reached out to Planned Parenthood because I just wanted confirmation of pregnancy, and they said they would give confirmation, but they wouldn't be able to tell you whether or not it was viable because they don't have those resources available. They don't do heart rate checks and stuff like that, which I think is helpful. I know some people who have gotten abortions in Arizona, and I don't know if this was a specific clinic or what have you. This was at least 8 years ago, but they had to do the whole ultrasound. They had to listen to the heartbeat. They had to do all of that, and then they weren't allowed to schedule their procedure for 14 days after that. And they were required to like speak with like a counselor and stuff ahead of time to ensure that they were making like the right decision and stuff like that, which is sad.
Yeah.
Again, just that kind of guilting you into the process, just like a bunch of those pro-life resources that were bragging to be pro-abortion or pro-choice. They're definitely based on guilt. They're like, oh, we'll give you the ultrasound for free. We'll do all of this. We'll do the tests and all of this for free. And then
I wonder if there's any statistics on that kind of scenario playing into after the fact, like what kind of impact it has on your mental health, like being kind of guilted in that way but still going through with it, versus somebody who doesn't really have any problems and like you kind of didn't seem to have too much of a problem.
So what's cool about that is Planned Parenthood included in the fees for the procedure are the procedure itself. And then you have a follow-up for confirmation of completed termination. And they have different options for that, whether that be like a high-strength pregnancy test or another ultrasound. They also do HCG labs. So, the follow-up is included in the price. They also included a bunch of like pain medications, like 800 milligram ibuprofen, and Zofran to help with any nausea that you might have. But in addition to that, they have counseling available to you, free. So you can discuss, how you feel about it. And not only is it possibly going to make you feel guilty, which, again, I don't, like the morality aspect of it didn't bother me at all. Because it's my body.
Right.
And I wanted to take care of my living children, especially I breastfed Luca for 4 years, literally to his 4th birthday. I was 20 weeks pregnant and I was like, okay, we're done. And Tala was only 9 months old and I was already having an issue with my milk production. And a lot of people don't produce throughout, the entirety of a pregnancy. And I wanted to make sure that she got what's best for her and she got taken care of because she was only 9 months old and taking away, the attention and, the nutrients and stuff that she needed. I wanted to take care of my living children because that's important. But yeah, they do have, they go over it multiple times that they have free counseling included in that price, whether that be telehealth due to COVID, or you can actually go in and meet with a therapist. I don't know how long that would go on for,
Right. At
but
least it's something.
yeah, exactly. Luckily, I see a therapist independently who knows me, so I didn't need that resource. But um, it was nice to know that it was there.
Right.
Specifically, somebody catered to helping women in the same situation that I was in. Um, so that probably helps alleviate some of the supposed guilt. But if you go on Planned Parenthood's like website, they do have some like testimonials and stuff
Uh-huh.
about the procedures that they've performed and things along those lines. And a lot of them, and it's probably because they, you know, um, kind of dig through them, or the only people who, actually review are people who had a positive experience like myself. A lot of them are positive experiences. A lot of them are people saying that they're grateful for the choice. Like a huge percentage of women I had read this study that within 1 week, 1 year, and then 5 years after an abortion, their immediate reaction was relief. It wasn't guilt. And I would say that was the same for me. Um, so relief, and a lot of them, I think it was like 99% of them did not feel guilty 5 years down the line.
Right.
So at least those statistics are available, but only if you dig for them. I had searched on YouTube words like "I had an abortion" or things like that, and the only thing that came up were like things from churches and I had this abortion, I regret it, and all of
Right.
this stuff. I'm not saying that those people don't exist, but I wonder if these people only feel regret because their religion has told them that they need to. Their religion has told them that they should feel guilty for the choices that they made for themselves. But I don't know. As not a religious person, I would say that I still am a moral person,
Right.
and this doesn't affect like my moral compass or anything like that.
Good connection there. Morals and religion. Guess I never really thought about separating the two like that. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm glad you're happy with it and you got it all done.
I couldn't even imagine, again, we were hoping that it was ectopic, and they thought it was ectopic, and when it came out that it wasn't, it was still our choice to terminate. If it was ectopic, my insurance would have paid for it, and that's kind of why I was hoping for that.
How do you feel about, say your partner didn't want you to have an abortion? How do you feel about that? Like, you're just, oh well.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't have a partner who wasn't okay with that. These
Oh,
are
okay. So this is because this is where I was going to go with this. Do you think you should have this conversation when you're, dating somebody? Like how soon?
Absolutely.
How soon? As soon as you guys decide to start having sex? Because I mean, sometimes sex just happens.
Well, part of it, especially if you're like actually trying to go into a relationship, if you're just sometimes sex just happens.
Yeah, like hooking up or something.
Or hooking up, you should absolutely be using all of the proper, birth control, condoms, what have you, to protect yourself.
Okay, but let's say it was a hookup. Would you still promote them consulting the other person?
I mean, I feel like you should have those conversations with anybody you're going to be intimate with. But
before you're about to hook up, you can't just be like, "Look, stop. We need to."
Well, okay.
What if two people are drunk, they hook up one time, and then they go their separate ways, and then it happens? Do you think she needs to reach out and find this person and tell them? No, right? Like that's okay, and that's because they're so like not connected or anything. It's just some random thing. She doesn't really need
absolutely
permission.
not.
That would I would say more like in your situation where you're dating somebody and you guys are together, it's established. That's like a.
Well, it sounds so weird you saying dating because we live together and we have children.
Well, you guys are together, but married, whatever.
Prior to even starting a relationship, especially when children are already involved, I feel like those conversations are important because if you already have a child, the likelihood of having another child is relatively high. But just expressing, this is where I stand on certain things, and I think maybe this is where some relationships fail and you wind up pregnant or even a planned pregnancy, and you find that you clash a lot on your like parenting styles and your medical decisions and stuff like that. I can tell you that me and my partner definitely sat down long before we ever chose to like be like in a relationship, and we discussed, you know, our views on circumcision and abortions, you know, immigration, you know, things like that. Just because it is important to me to be on the same page with most things. And I'm not saying that we should agree on everything, but the big points, you know, like
Yeah.
abortion, and even circumcision, which that's a whole nother thing, that I won't even get started on today. But even like LGBTQ rights and things like that.
Look at you.
And
You're
maybe
just a
it's because
younger, or I don't even say if you'd be younger, but you're just like AOC.
I'm just a what?
You're just like AOC.
Oh,
I guess you're probably the same age though. Or how old is she?
I don't know how old she is, but I think she might be younger than me.
No way.
Hang on, I'll Google it right now.
Let me look it up.
She's 31. Okay, she's older than me, but not very much.
How old are you now?
27.
Oh my gosh. Road to 30. Here we come.
You're 31. You'll be
Me?
30.
No,
Yeah?
I'm 32.
Are you?
Yep.
But your
I'll be 33 in
End of February.
27 days.
You have the same birthday as my sister-in-law.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Well, I'm better, so whatever. Anyways, what were we saying? I forgot.
Having those important
Oh
conversations.
yeah, having those conversations. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, because I've never done that, honestly.
You know, I'd like to make a divorce joke here, but I'll digress.
Whatever. That wasn't the reason for the divorce, okay? But we did plan love, so yeah.
Well, but you guys agreed on most things throughout that whole
Yeah,
process.
everything was good up until the end. It was just some bitches be going crazy, man. I don't know.
But I don't know. I feel like, you know, sometimes those conversations aren't necessary in the age of like social media. I'm pretty sure everybody knows that I support abortion. Everybody knows that I didn't like Trump, you know, when I was on social
But
media.
somebody like you who's not, like, now you're not on social media, so you'd have to like really. But I mean, I don't know. You're kind of vocal on like your political views, so I guess it'd be easy to pick up with someone with you, you know, as far as your views on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
for
feel
me
like
though,
even-
I'd be concerned. Now you got me concerned. Like, damn, I need to have this talk. Well, I have a vasectomy now, but still, I mean, it could fuck up, even though I got tested and everything. You just never know these days.
Right. Well, and even though
I'm very clear that I don't want any more kids. Like, I don't mind dating somebody who has kids, but I don't want to go through that whole having her pregnant and having an infant and waking up in the middle of the night. I'm so over that shit. Fuck all of that. Ugh.
you have no idea.
It's disgusting. I know. Just hearing your stories with Tala, I'm just like, man, I feel sorry for you, because it just takes me back to when Lev and Bella were little and just being a zombie and just I couldn't imagine.
Again, last night I think we got 3 hours of sleep. I've been awake since 3:30.
That is, dude. I don't even know.
But I don't know. Partnerships when kids are involved are just completely different. And I feel like when you're younger, you don't think about those types of things. And then when you wind up pregnant,
Yeah.
like Luca, you know, ultimately that's one of the reasons why his bio isn't involved, is because we clashed so much. So maybe that's why I put so much stock and so much importance in
Right.
having those conversations ahead of time, because shit happens.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to implement this talking strategy, since I'm such a hoe, like you say. Not true, for the record. Let's strike the record, or no, strike is when you take it out, right? Let's put it on
Yeah.
record here right now. Not a hoe. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's just an awkward conversation though, because it's just like, when's the right time to bring that
But
up?
it doesn't have to be.
But
I
I'm
mean-
just saying. Well, yeah, okay, it's not awkward, but it's like when exactly? What point do you bring that up? When you? How do you?
I
I
mean,
guess
I
when you
feel
know,
like if
when
you
you
can
realizing
reach
you're serious with
levels-
somebody.
Well, no, I feel like if you can reach the level of like intimacy, if you're having sex, you should be comfortable having these conversations.
Damn, that's still weird. Like after the first hookup, because now it's gonna be on my mind all the time. Like every time like I have sex, I'm gonna think about this. Like,
Shit.
You're like, I don't want kids.
I don't want kids. Well, I mean, it's like a lot less likely for me, but still, now I'm like, it could happen. Like, there's still a rare chance.
I mean, it's very rare, and again, you have options. But I mean, since you're not a woman, it's
But
unfortunately
I'm not the woman, so at the end of the day, it's not gonna be up to me. Like, it's gonna be up to her. If she
right.
wants to keep it or not. Like, what if she wants to keep it? Then I'm like, what the fuck, no. Like,
Well, again, I support abortions and I support men's choices to not be involved.
okay, but we know I'm not like that. What's up? What do you need? I know. Hold on, I'm just done. I don't know. It's just different because it's like I said. At the end of the day, it's your guys' decision to go through, and I don't know. I can't be one of those guys. I don't know. Like if I have a kid, I gotta take care of it.
You say that, but I mean, what if she chooses not to have you involved? What if you guys don't share the same thoughts and opinions on parenting and stuff like that? Like, if you were just going to clash and fight for the rest of this child's life,
Oh, okay, you make a
better
good
off.
point there. I don't know. That's a sticky situation. God, maybe I should just not
But
have
I'm-
sex.
Sticky situation.
I'll just join the church. And just
There you go.
take a vow of celibacy and just call it a day.
Well, you're already bald, so you could do the whole monk thing.
That's by choice, okay?
I'm pretty sure monks shave their heads bald.
Do they? I thought they were all just bald people who couldn't grow hair.
You can't be serious.
I'm kidding. No, I'm not. Well, I don't know. Everyone wants me to grow it out. Let's see. I just shaved it today because I went to therapy, so
You wanted to look good for your face.
I gotta be looking good for my therapist. Never know. You know what I'm saying?
Have you had these conversations with your therapist?
Yeah, we talked. My therapist is cool as fuck. I got really lucky with her. She's pretty chill. We were talking about Harry Potter today.
Nice.
Yeah, Harry Potter and facing whatever emotion I'm feeling and being okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, seriously? It's not what I'm paying you for.
And so instead you post crude memes on Facebook and get banned.
She knows I do that too. She knows what's up. I'm pretty sure she probably checks on me, honestly. If I was a therapist, I'd check on my people, see how they act in the wild when they're outside the room. Wouldn't you?
No.
No? Oh, I would. No, she's really cool though. She knows about my memes. She knows. I'm the one that actually taught her about Facebook jail because of me. She knows what that is.
Stupid.
Speaking
Like,
of,
if you post pictures of vulvas on your Facebook, you wind up in jail.
usually I get away with that on the story, but Facebook's algorithm is getting really, really good. And you can't, honestly, could you really
For
tell right
somebody
away?
I could absolutely tell right away, but I
Well,
mean,
'cause you're
I
a
also
girl, probably,
spend
you
a
have
large
one.
portion of my life immersed in other people's vaginas.
At first I thought it was just roast beef sandwiches. I was like, oh, this is an Arby's meme. And then I was like, no.
It's stupid.
I posted it on Instagram though, so hopefully it's weird. Facebook owns both of those, but there's different sets of rules. Like you can get away with nudity and
It's a
stuff.
lot more lenient.
Yeah, it's
And that's where like the birth community kind of thrives is on Instagram. You know, like I said, spend far too much of my time looking at other women's anatomy. Because you can post like full frontal nudity as long as breastfeeding or birthing is included, and you can have
because I've posted a bunch because I post like lots of art these days, and like I'll post like there's like girls who are like doing like this really cool like nudie.
I said as long as breastfeeding or birth is involved.
Well, none of those are involved in mine, and I'm not getting flagged.
Well, again,
Do you
they
think
are
it has
more.
some kind of art aspect or something that they can
I think
detect?
art is acceptable.
Yeah, but how do they detect that?
I
So
don't
I
know.
would think the algorithm's looking for like nipples and your vagina. I would think that's the three things are two things, I guess.
Hang on. I don't think Instagram specifically removes nipples.
Yeah, because like I said, I've posted plenty of girls who are like in cool like see-through wrapped garbs and shit, and it's
Apparently, Instagram does have a nipple ban.
what? Well, they haven't
But
got me yet.
in order to get around the censorship, hang on. They have rules. Let me read these to you in just a second. Um,
Ah, they did flag me. Damn. Bitch ass host.
okay, apparently if you put your gender as a female, you're more likely to get banned for nipples. So maybe because you're a male, you're less likely to get your nipples flagged.
Hmm. I guess. I don't know.
But no, it says that they specifically have a rule for art. Works of art displaying female nipples are okay to post.
Okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. Well, I just got flagged for that one too, so whatever. I'll figure out a way to get around it. I'll blur it or something. They can't get me for that shit. All right. What else? Anything else?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I feel like
Did you still want to do an anxiety talk later, or like a different episode?
We could, especially because, you know, I'm to the point where...
I'm wondering if I could do one with you and my therapist friend, because she's actually a therapist. I mean, obviously she can't give you... She wouldn't be able to, like, treat you in any way, but I mean, she could... You know what I mean? Like, it would be good to have somebody like you who actually has anxiety also with her and me, you know what I mean? Like a three-way. I'll have to talk. I'll have to talk to her.
Well, and I'm trying a bunch of like holistic.
Me too. That's how my therapist is super holistic.
So we could discuss that.
I'll talk to her and see what she says about how that would work with her, because I don't want her to get in trouble either or whatever. But I mean, I'm assuming it would be the same way as me.
I know that it's okay to discuss like psychology and therapy and stuff like
just
that.
Not, like, treat or something.
As long as they're not like when you spoke with her, I'm sure they weren't treating or diagnosing you, and that's
right.
Like,
yeah, she can't say go take this, and this, and
right.
Anyway, but would you be down for that though? Is the question.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot easier to talk about than abortion, because even though, even though like I'm not ashamed of my decision, and I feel like I want to be a resource out there, and kind of like it's okay to be proud of your abortion. It's okay to.
Maybe you should start a website and become the resource that you couldn't find.
I think I'll make maybe at some point like my own independent YouTube video or something like that, just for those people like me who search, I had an abortion and they can't find one.
Yeah, you're a pretty good speaker. You did pretty good here. You could totally do it. Get all your shit ready, make a video real quick, post it, bam, done. Post it on your Instagram thing, little clips at least.
Get all the hate, all of it.
Well, you're gonna get hate regardless. I mean, no matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I guess, that's, I don't care.
You're going to get a lot of hate, but I mean, think about all the love you're going to get as well from the girls who are just like you.
Right. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I reached out to you and I was like, I want to do this, because women shouldn't feel ashamed about this. And I think, just hearing one person's story is enough to kind of empower you. And maybe if, you're one of those 1 in 4 like myself,
when I go live, I'll put like a little caption, because I always put like a little thing about what it's about. Maybe I'll see if there's anybody who's willing to share their stories as well in the comments, like a quick little tidbit or something.
I know in the past, kind of a little bit before the Me Too movement, on my Facebook, I had done I'm a safe space. If you want to talk to me about like your abortions and stuff like that, I'll post them like anonymously. And I had a bunch of people who like reached out to me and told me their story, and I posted.
So do you want to promote yourself as a safe space right now? How would people contact you if you do?
You can find me on Instagram as The Bliss of Birth.
The Bliss of Birth. Okay, I'll put that in the caption as well. Just send it to me so I spell it right, and then
okay.
That way, if anybody wants to hook up with you and talk or whatever.
Yeah. And I also do car seat stuff. I'm a
car seat. Yes, you're a car seat master. What else are you pro at?
I'm a birth doula.
Birth doula.
And
a
midwife.
Professional Sailor Moon impersonator.
I
like your hair. It looks nice.
Again, this isn't just because like after you have a baby, like your hair falls out. is a thing. Because like while you're pregnant, all
That's
your
what happened
hormones
to me
make your
with
hair
Lev.
up. But so my hair was super thick when I was pregnant with Tala, and then it all fell out, and I had these huge bald spots here. And this is just my postpartum regrowth from after she was born. So they were bald spots, like.
I remember Tiffany used to take prenatal pills just to make her hair grow and nails grow. Can't you just do that?
I mean, yes, but I should also be taking prenatals because I also am breastfeeding.
Oh, okay, so you're already doing it. So.
Well, breastfeeding is just as hard on you as pregnancy is.
Makes sense.
So you should definitely still be taking your vitamins postpartum, especially if you're breastfeeding.
All right. Okay. Well, I guess we can end it there. That's pretty good. We almost went an hour and a half. You're almost I think, yeah, you're pretty close to like the longest one.
I'm sorry. You can definitely cut off some of the random shit in the beginning.
No, there is no cutting off. This is the way it is. This is raw. It's final form.
Whatever. I don't care. I'm sure I repeated myself 12 times.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, this isn't the most perfect little podcast or anything, and I'll let you know in 7 days when,
The best part about it is I don't have to see anybody's comments that are on your thing.
I'll let you know. Just kidding.
Only if they're positive.
All of my friends are pretty level-headed, so I don't know. I've managed to weed out all the dummies, so I don't think you'll get any problems.
Well, abortion is one of those things, though.
Yeah, it's pretty controversial, I guess, but I don't know why.
And I don't know why, because it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, but and I'll let you know when I stream this live. That way, you can expect messages from that point on, but not for 7 days at least. So, I guess the 8th at this time.
Okay, and you should send me the YouTube link when you.
Oh yeah, I'll send it to you, and you should watch the therapy one. It's the second one. That way, you can get familiar with that. With my friend Melissa. I'll send it to you. That way, you know where it's at. Okay.
Okay.
All right, fam. Love you. Miss you. Hope all you guys are all healthy and good. And
I got COVID tested like 2 days or like a week ago. I'm good. We're all good.
You're not gonna get it. You're gonna get your vaccine soon, and everything will be gravy. I think.
We'll see. I saw after we talked about the vaccine, and you said that your friend like cut the line and stuff. I saw a bunch of
a lot of people are doing that.
Yeah, in Arizona and specifically, and it's become like super problematic.
Really? But they're letting them. They're like, hey, you want it? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then bam, give it to them.
But cutting the line means that, people that are at risk don't get it.
Well, then they should make an appointment. I don't know.
Oh. Anyway, all right. I'm done here.
All right, I'll text you when I text you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye, Luca. Bye. Bye, Tala. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye, Toad.
Later, Toad.
Bye, Toad.
All right, guys. Bye.